guys, it's Mike with Vant Trading with another video on the new Trader Pathway series. In today's video, we're going to talk about the information trap. Now, a lot of what you're going to hear in this video is stuff that you've heard me say over and over again. And the reason I do that is because, first off, repetition is the mother of all skill. Second off is, sometimes you got to hear it over and over again because there's so much information out there that is not on point. And so if you hear it over and over again, hopefully it'll start sinking in. See, never in our time have we had access to information at our fingertips, nor have we had access at the speed at which we have access. See, most successful people know that information is an asset and it's the key to success. Especially for new traders, information can be the difference between becoming a good trader versus maybe not becoming a good trader and eventually dropping out and losing the passion. See, there's a couple problems we're going to talk about in this video. One is most traders don't know what information they should be paying attention to. And we kind of talked about it a little bit, but we're going to go over it again. The other problem that I see that traders have, and you can see it with Twitter, you can see it on YouTube. I mean, it's the quality or integrity of the information that is out there. And a lot of that stuff is tough, as far as whether or not you can trust the information that's being present becomes a challenge. And then, of course, the final problem is a lot of traders, what do they do with the information that they get? And, so we're going to kind of attack those problems. And the first problem I want to talk about is, most traders really don't know what information they should be paying attention to. And if you watch the Holy Grail series, and I hope you did, to me, that video right there in the nutshell is worth $5,000, way more than a $5,000 course. To me, it has everything in there that you need to be a new, for a new trader to become really good and consistent. Now, we don't give you all the information as far as how to get there, but we give you that information to focus on. And again, it kind of falls into the 4 pillars that we kind of put out there that we think is important. And again, all this stuff that we're talking about really is stuff that we have taught our traders on our trading desk for a hedge fund for a very long time. And those 4 pillars are: 1, building out your trading plan. So any information that you can find on helping you build a trading plan is definitely important information, stuff that you should be focusing on. The other side is on risk management. That's the 2nd pillar. All successful traders understand this is a game of odds, and it's about putting the odds in your favor, and being good at trading is all about staying in the game, managing your trade, and having good risk management. And then the third one is having a good mental plan. I mean, we talked about how important you're a performing athlete. So having a really good mental plan is so important. And then finally, and we're going to talk about this a little bit today, is you got to really build good processes and systems. I don't see a lot of people focus in on this, but a really good system and process really can go a long way to making you a really good trader. So that's really what you need to focus on to become a good trader. So kind of use those 4 pillars as your guide. Now, the other thing that we talked about is how do you know you can trust the information? How do you know you got a good source? And to me, there's a couple things that I look at as far as when I'm talking to people or I'm looking at, because listen, I mean, I've been training for over 30 years, but I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly learning, number 1, from our students, and I'm also constantly learning, number 2, from other people, other good traders out there. And so, these kind of criteria is what I use to kind of go through and make my own judgment whether the information is a good source or a good piece of information. And the first thing is I try to find out what the person's motivation is. See, there's so much out there for people that are out there to try to just make money, and they're trying to sell you something. So, I'm always trying to see what is their motivation. Our motivation, we've talked about it several times, is been through, really the pandemic. Right? We had no presence on YouTube, nor do we have a desire to have a presence helping people on YouTube, because, we had a nice 20,000 square foot office. We had a couple huge trading desks with traders on the desks. And, we had a nice development company. So our fund, we really worry about people outside of our own little organization. But since the pandemic, when really we had to close those locations for a short period of time, we had to move everybody kind of over into an online presence. And that kind of opened up different things. And we started our YouTube channel as a way to communicate with our traders, to get information out, keep them educated. And it worked very well. And then, of course, that kind of progressed to the point where, this may be not, this may be more of a permanent thing, and maybe that's a good thing. So, again, that's kind of pushed us to develop our YouTube channel and start looking for more traders. And I've been very out front, we are putting a new fund together, raising capital for the purposes of providing new traders capital to trade. So to provide traders with capital, or to have enough traders to really trade that capital, we have a new website. It's going to be coming out 1st of January, where we're going to be selectively looking for new traders, people looking to do trading, or existing traders, to help us go through a program to where we have some good traders who really trade our capital. So that's our motivation for doing this. We're not trying to sell you anything right here. We're trying to provide education. Look, we're also trying to give back. Having to go online, having to do these videos for our traders, kind of, it's kind of been, we've kind of, for the first time, put our focus on what's going on outside of just what we're doing. And you just see a lot of traders struggling. You see a lot of people giving a lot of bad information. So what we try to do is try to give you at least a foundation that you can use going forward to kind of analyze what you need to do to become a good trader. And again, it's all built off of what we do on our desk to help train new traders coming in. So, you want to understand what the person's motivation is, if you can, because, if they're pushing a lifestyle, if you look on and they're talking about Lamborghinis and they're talking about houses and boats and stuff like that, you probably don't want to be focusing in on what they have to say. Okay. They're probably more trying to sell you something, and you got to ask yourself, what's the experience and background that the person that you're listening to has? Do they show you their P&L? Do they trade live so you can see, that, it's not just something that they are saying they did, when, you can actually verify it and see it as it's happening. So all that stuff is really important, and there is a lot of good traders out there, and a lot of good traders do want to help. I mean, there's a lot of good pick services. We're going to get into that and stuff like that, where, really good traders are just looking to just develop a really good community. So it's not that if somebody's charging you for something that they're not, they don't have a good motivation, but you got to think about, okay, does what they say make sense? Are they trying, are they focused on just making money? Because, if they're such a great trader trading, then you got to ask yourself, well, why are they out there spending more time pushing their education system and trying to make money that way? It's a good, kind of good food for thought. But there's a lot of good traders out there, a lot of good access, and I don't want you to kind of shy away from that. See, free information is not necessarily good information. Bad information can do way more damage than good information can do. I mean, everybody, it seems, is online. There's hundreds of people trying to sell you something, doing something. So make sure you're kind of using a good filter to figure out that, you're following good people. The third thing I'm going to talk about when you're talking about information coming in is what happens once you get the information. And we talked about it. A lot of traders don't know what to do with the information. And this is when we talked about developing good systems and processes. Well, you want to make sure you have a good learning system. That's one of the first things that we teach our traders when they come in, because the majority of people don't have a good learning system. They don't have a good way of really developing themselves and using the information and the access that they have. So, again, this is one of the first systems that you should be creating. And I don't have time to really go into a really good learning system here, but I'll give you a little couple of tidbits of what you should be focusing on. See, 81% of the information most people read, they lose. And which means the typical way people, learn is they go read something, they go listen to somebody, maybe they take some notes, and then they only retain about 19%. And there's a couple reasons for that. First off, the one thing is they don't really understand the modality that is best for them to learn. See, everybody learns differently. Some people are really good with auditory, with an auditory learning system. Some people are really good with a visual learning system. I'm a visual person, and I like to see things. But some people are touchy-feely and they're more kinesthetic. So the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that you're learning in the modality that fits you. Now, notice, again, a couple things that are kind of similar that we talked about before, making sure you're congruent in your trading strategy with your strengths and weaknesses. Well, it's the same thing here with learning, making sure you're congruent, learning the way that's best for you to retain things. The second thing is you want to make sure that you have a decent environment. This is all part of your learning systems. I like to burn oils and stuff like that, essential oils, because, it stimulates the senses. It really stimulates and kind of calms me. And I have different senses or different types of oils for different modes that I want to go in, and they kind of trigger me into a good learning or trading experience. The other thing is, in your environment, you want to make sure you turn off your phone. You don't have distractions. Okay. And you want to have a committed learning blocks, but you want to try to learn everything at once. And, one system I kind of like to use, I'm not recommending it, but it kind of works for me, is the Pomodoro system. And you can get a Pomodoro timer online for free. And basically all it does, you click it, and it basically gives me 25-minute blocks. And then it gives me a 5-minute break. And then I go into my next 25-minute block. See, what's great about these blocks is that, it lets you learn for a set period of time. You can really focus in on the material. But then after about 25, 30 minutes, then, studies show you start to lose interest. You start losing the percentage of information you're grasping. So, it kind of lets you, okay, take a break, reset, reframe your mind, and stuff like that. The other thing in your environment is you want to make sure that you are in a good state of mind. Make sure you're in a good state and you're open to learning. How many times have people, and I've done it myself, reading a book and you find out that, I've been reading the same page for over and over for the last 10, 15 minutes. Okay. Well, really the reason that happens is because you're not in a state to where you're receptive to bringing information in. So, you're wasting your time. Change your state, change your focus, and you'll get yourself a better result. And then finally, but the next step is, in a good learning system, you want to have a good capture system. So I like to I'm old school. I like to write down notes, and I'll take some notes and write on papers and stuff like that. But then I take those notes and I put them in an online system, and I use Evernote, but there's lots of different systems out there. And what I do is, you want to make sure you have a system that has tags and folders, right? Because you want to be able to go back and access your information in the future, and you want an easy way to access that. And I find tags is one of the best ways to do that. So I'll go down, write my stuff down, and then the process of putting that stuff into my Evernote at the end of the day is another way to help me retain, because I'm then going over the same information again. So it's not just about a review, right? And we talked about this a little bit when we talked about how traders review their trades. And I go over this with my mentors all the time. I did it actually this morning. And, you hear it all the time. Go, make sure you journal your trades and review your trades. Bullshit. Okay. Doing that alone is not enough. And the problem is most traders hear that like a mantra over and over again. And so what they do is that's all they do. But you got to take it a step further. You got to not just review, but look and identify specific things that are important, and then create what's actions that you can create to make sure you don't make those same mistakes over and over again. Okay. And it's the same thing in learning. Once you're, taking notes, that's not enough. Reading, not enough. You have to make sure that you tag it, you review it, and you identify key important points. Okay. Identify key important points and make sure you create action plans off those points and that you schedule them and follow through. See, review is key when we're talking about education and a learning system, but so many people don't do it, and then they're just wind up wasting their time. So if you're a new trader, this is the first step you should be doing. The first step is you should make sure you have a really good learning system that you can follow, and this learning system will be with you for the rest of your career. Okay, I can't tell you how important that is. Okay, so that's kind of, make sure you're focusing on the right things, make sure you can trust the information, you've gone through a process, and then make sure you have a good learning system. And that's the key really to making sure that you're filtering the information that's coming in. The other thing is, there's a lot of different types of sources of information out there. Again, never before has there been such access to so many good traders out there. I mean, you got good traders that have developed chat rooms, which, there's some really good ones out there, right? And they're doing it for a good reason, okay? They're not just doing it to make money. You can tell the guys that are doing it or girls that are doing it not to make money, okay? There's some good ones out there. But as far as a chat room would be concerned, I really would stay away from those services until you get your trading plan put together, until you know what kind of trader you're going to be, because most of the ones I've looked at, they really don't focus as much on the trading plan and the other parts of trading that are most important. And even if you got a good chat room, you don't want to go in and start following other people's trades. Okay. That's not the way to do it. That's not what successful people do. What you want to do is, you want to follow what type of focus they're looking at. You're looking at ideas. And so you want to be have a good community, but, so you can help with ideas, but you always got to make the ideas yourself. And there's some really good people out there, really good chat rooms and stuff like that. There's education companies out there, there's YouTube, there's live traders. But again, live traders, anybody can go on YouTube and trade live, but it doesn't mean what they're saying or what they're doing is correct, or maybe even correct for you. Okay, so I'd be a little bit careful because there's so much access out there. But either way, again, make sure that you do your homework, you cut through and filter and get good information. And then, at the end, it's going to really help save you. It could be the difference between you being a good trader or failing out of this system. Okay, now what happens is most people are going to look at this video and say, well, there was no value in this video. Okay. But see, that's why a lot of people fail. Okay. See, successful people know that it's the small things, okay, that are important to success, not the large things. It's the small things. It's the small details that will make a difference between you being successful or not successful. Okay. It's really important. Now, look, there's a lot of good traders out there, and a lot of good traders are more than willing to help you and not charge you, or at least help you and give you some free information. Look, go out and private message them. But when you do, make sure you're providing value to them as well. Okay. Respect people's time, and they will spend more than enough out there to help you. Just communicate with them and bring some value to the table. And guys, don't forget, in January, we're going to be looking for some really, motivated, good people that we can spend our time with, because again, we are looking to help cultivate, build some traders. And, hopefully I look forward to talking to a lot of you once the new year starts and we get rolling. So I hope this video was of value to you. If you liked it, drop a note down in chat. Make sure you hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.